SF Radio. I am your host, Joe Monday, and this is the podcast where we talk about what's been going on the front page of our Street Fighter. But before we get into that, before I introduce the guest, I want to give a shout out to Piano Densetsu for that opening track. It's brand new recorded. Hopefully you guys like it. If you do, let me know. Let him know specifically, because I think it's dope as fuck. But anyway, on to the news. I have with me in the booth today someone who is very, let's say, infamous for just liking a game a lot and tends to eat a lot of your shit for it. But I'm happy to invite this guest on the show and talk to him all things Street Fighter and all things fighting games in general. Emezie, how you doing, man?
Fine, thanks. Thanks for taking the time to talk with me.
Yeah, sorry for the kind of infamous intro. It's one of those things where you've kind of just earned a name for yourself as someone who is unabashedly just you pour out the love for the game, and just in general for most things Street Fighter, but Street Fighter V in particular. Just an unashamed fan, and people kind of give you shit for it all the time. Unfortunately, but how you doing, man? How you been?
I'm all right. I'm doing all right. I'm actually loading the update for the patch that's today.
Oh yeah, well, because this is not in the news. I didn't write this down because I just saw it like moments ago, but online tournament mode is apparently a thing.
Yeah, apparently that's what I saw online.
I have literally no details because I'm just seeing it like literally minutes ago. I'll probably dig into it later, but
I still have 70 minutes left on this massive 21 gig download, so I can't help you either.
Yeah, it can be rough. Also, like, PlayStation downloads are fucking slow.
Yeah. PSN is...
It's always on their end, too. It's never, like, bottlenecked on your own end. It's just whatever their servers are fucking suck.
Yeah.
It's similar with Steam, but you have to you have to take the limiter off. You have to know how to do it right. But before we talk about any of that stuff, before we get into all of that, at the start of the show, I let the guests pitch whatever they have going on. I like you to kind of give what you got going on at the front of the show, kind of where to send people if they want to see what you're into. So, at the end of the show, when they've tuned out and stopped listening, they'll have already heard this part, and it's like a trick. So what do you got going on, dude?
Hopefully they don't tune out earlier than that. But
yeah, there's still like an hour to go, folks, so fucking buckle up, all right? You have to sit through this shit, all right? It must be this tall to listen to. Anyway, go ahead, sorry.
I guess my main thing is that I'm an animator, an independent animator on YouTube. So I guess the place I'd send people to is my YouTube channel, which is, I think you can type in just youtube.com/my name, Emezie. I think that would take you to it. But I think the official address is youtube.com/xykes, which is my tag.
Your handle is like Zykes, right? I say
Zykes, yeah.
Okay, all right.
It's a long story what that name is. Okay. So basically, I'm an animator. Like I said, I make cartoons. I've always drawn cartoons and stuff and comics. So I had this character called Rex. It was like, all kids have their own, like, they make their little crappy comic book characters who are rip-offs of like Spider-Man and Hulk and all that stuff. So this was a Hulk rip-off. His name was Rex. And then I grew up and I realized, this is a Hulk rip-off. So that's kind of stupid. So I'm gonna make a new character.
Oh no, I've ripped something off. I'm a fraud. I can't.
Yeah, I'm glad I learned that early in life instead of like now. But like, I wanted to keep the initials Rex, REX. So I made a character called Rick Edwards, and then I had to figure out a name that starts with X, which doesn't exist, or like very hard to do. So I just came up with Zykes, which is like Sykes, the name Sykes, but with an X in front of it because I was very edgy.
All right.
So
fair enough.
That's where my name comes from. It's not a very good.
So this is actually something that I feel like a lot of the fighting game community didn't realize about before, like, people knew who you were in relation to fighting games. I feel, at least like the circles that I run in, specifically on like our Street Fighter, is that you have grown this huge YouTube channel. It's fucking huge, right? What's like the subscriber count? Do you know offhand?
It's like 1.3 million currently. Last I checked.
That's like,
That's a lot.
hey fam, hey everybody in the fighting game community. 1.3 million isn't like there ain't a lot of people who have those numbers, to be quite honest.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Like I don't know. It doesn't seem real, but yeah, there are a lot of people who, fortunately, I'm very blessed to have that. It has nothing to do with fighting. Well, I can't say that. I think part of the way it grew was related to fighting games because I made a lot of fighting game related content in my animations and stuff, so that helped it grow, I guess.
Right. You do some work that is like fighting game adjacent, let's say, or makes references to, let's say.
Yeah.
And so you've kind of grown a community there, and that's like, how long has that been going on? Did you say?
Well, my YouTube channel was created in 2006, which I think is not too long after YouTube was created. I can't remember when you.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's like early YouTube. By the way, folks,
like a year or so maybe.
This is like a fun thing that you can do to hey kids who aren't familiar with the internet and what it looked like. Go to thewaybackmachine.com. And then just like look at some of old websites that you use today that were around back then, and like go back to that time, go back to 2006, and look at any YouTube page and be dumbfounded with like, this is not how things look. This is like this is a UI nightmare. How do you do any of this stuff?
It's updated so many times. Like I've actually forgotten the stuff we had to deal with. Like you used to be able to customize the backgrounds of the page like a website, like your own website, like MySpace used to be.
Yeah, it used to be. It kind of used to be more like MySpace in a lot of ways.
Yeah, it was pretty much. If anyone knows what that is, I don't know. Maybe we're dating ourselves here.
Yeah, probably. Actually, yeah. Even bringing up MySpace or it could be worse. We could be talking about Friendster or like IRC channels, but like a lot of the FGC is like old internet people, like the people who you see. This is like the rhetorical you, the general you. Hey kids, the people that you see like front and center of the FGC are actually a lot of them who have been around for a long time. The people who like run a lot of things like pretty much come from the old internet. Like,
the old heads, like Seth Killian. I remember talking about that. Was that the
Gutex, all those people, like they have a history and all this stuff. But anyway, that's other stuff. Let's more about what you have going on, because it's the YouTube channel. What else you got going
on? Is there anything else? I mean, that's pretty much all I do. Pretty much all day making these animations and stuff. Because YouTube, the internet, social media, that stuff doesn't wait for you. You gotta always have something going on.
Do you stream?
No, I've wanted to get into streaming actually.
Okay.
I have a Twitch. I mean, everyone has Twitch accounts, but I wanted to start streaming, but I've never actually
never jumped into that yet.
I should, but yeah.
Because like I feel like there's market for people who would stream like doing their work of animation. Some people like stream their art.
Yeah,
that gets weird because some artists like that, some artists don't. Kind of what you're into.
Yeah, I've seen that there are definitely arts, like different categories on Twitch, like just art and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. I don't know if people would want to watch someone draw. Well, I guess they do. I guess people do like watching people draw.
I feel like there's a market for everything out there. I mean, draw.
Yeah, there's an audience for everything. That's true.
Just do some drawings in your Chun-Li outfit, then. Well, you don't have to banned.
Whoa, careful.
But yeah, I know. Getting a little hot and spicy over here. Don't want to get banned from podcast. It's like impossible to get banned from podcast. I swear to God, you can say whatever shit you want. They let anybody do this shit. Hey, folks, if you think there's like laws and registrations, y'all haven't ever dealt with the FCC.
Wild West. It's like YouTube used to be back in the day.
Yeah, but now it's
everything gets demonetized. That's another story right there. Demonetization and just
yeah. Like the time where there was ad money, like you lived through all of that. Where like a time where there were paychecks.
Where like every video you got didn't get demonetized instantly, and like you could actually make money doing stuff.
And then there were like people who were making money just off of, I'm going to flag all of these things as I own this.
Yeah. That Michael Jackson song in your video, that's my video. I'm Michael Jackson.
Yeah. I own it. It's me, the Michael Jackson.
YouTube's like, the robots, YouTube robots are just like, yeah, that sounds legit. So I'm taking your video down.
It's all bad, and it's like, I don't know. I feel like they just like went overboard on things going bad, and then they're like slowly trying to walk back to like make things okay with the people who create on that service, and it's just like, it's very weird, man.
Very slowly, but yeah, I mean, like I said, my YouTube channel is 2006, so I've been dealing with all this crap for 13 years now. So
been at it for a while.
But
were you into fighting games back then?
Yeah, I've been invited back to related to the topic, fighting games. I've been playing since I think my first fighting. I don't know my first fighting game. I definitely played Street Fighter 2 and all that. So I played Street Fighter 1 once. That game's kind of bad, but I played Karate Champ. I don't know if you know what that is.
That's like the first fighting game.
Yeah, I think that ER Kung Fu or whatever that game is. But that's like a one-player game, I think. So yeah, I think I'd say Karate Champ is my first fighting game. So I've been playing for a while. I've been playing the whole time, I guess.
All right. As far as like getting into the scene though in the community, where'd that jump off come from?
So that probably started when I went to college. So I went to MIT for undergraduate for chemical engineering, which I don't use at all because that's nice. How college works. Spend all your time doing one thing and then you don't do it at all ever again. But yeah, and when I was an undergraduate at MIT, I met a lot of my friends who I still have now. I just met them in an arcade. There's an arcade in the basement of the student center at MIT. If anyone knows, any MIT grads are listening to this, that doesn't exist anymore. That arcade's gone. So sorry. But yeah, I just met some friends. There was a Street Fighter 3 new generation machine down there. That was sick. There's an Alpha 3 machine, the only Alpha 3 machine I've ever seen in real life. Yeah, that's where I started. That's probably my first tournament, probably.
Okay,
during that period of time.
That dates you. We won't say the name. We won't say the year, but those who are savvy will understand what we're talking about.
1 or 2 years ago. A couple years ago.
Yeah, a couple handful. But all right, so cool. I think that gives a little good history of kind of where you came from. But
the only tournament I've ever won was a Soul Calibur 1 tournament on Dreamcast. So
Soul Calibur 1, those days. Okay. Yeah. Man, that was a good. Man, Dreamcast was all right.
That was a great console. In addition to a Street Fighter Capcom fanboy, I'm definitely a Sega fanboy. Sega Genesis was my favorite all-time system, and Dreamcast was just...
I won't call it my favorite system, but I will definitely call the Sega Genesis. It has my favorite sound card. That thing fucking rips.
There you go. That's my Streets of Rage, Sonic, a bunch of all... yeah. I used to have like a tape recorder. I just love dating myself. I'm just going to keep doing that. I used to have a tape recorder that I'd put up to the speakers so I could record soundtracks, my own soundtracks of like Sega Genesis music. That's how
we did it back. All analog, baby.
Yeah, all analog. Yeah. It sounded horrible, but I don't care.
These trashy rips. I've had some trashy rips before, but that's another age. That's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about some other trash, some other garbage that I think we can get out of the way. Let's get this out of the way up front, because recently, and this is somewhat recent news. We're about 3 weeks. And like doing in my mind, probably like 4 weeks from when things went bad. And of course, I'm talking about, so the SFL happened. There was a voting stage, and from the looks of it, oh man, how do I even break this down? Because I know that I've talked about it on the show before, but it's like voting was cut off an hour early for reasons. You were in the 5th position. Am I right in thinking that?
Yes.
Because they were letting 4 people in, and you were number 5. Mm-hmm. But
I wasn't 4th. Then, as time went on, I sort of dropped just behind Tommy Tuesday.
Right, and then you had plans to release more videos on your YouTube channel, and it's you can leverage a lot of clicks that way. That makes sense to do a last minute push, but that was coming up and closed an hour early. You're in 5th, and then Leah Guilty Hayes was removed from the competition for a whole other mess of reasons that we don't have time to get into on this podcast, but the bad situation. And so I think everybody thought, well, you were number 5, so it would probably be you. And then the SFL's like, we're all done recording. Here it is. And it's Art. So what happened?
That's pretty much it.
I think, and it's funny, like from your perspective, that's what happened. You were like, wait a minute,
I wasn't really privy to any of this, so that's what happened as far as I know.
Which is so. I mean, I was just ask you for fucking around sake, but there was never any contact or never any like announcement that this was the position that you landed in. No formal communication with anybody at Capcom at all.
So the only time someone really reached out to me was back during the initial voting when that whole thing happened where it cut out early and then everyone was like, what the heck's going on?
Right.
So at that point, Mama Dow, Carolyn Dow, she's awesome, by the way. She actually reached out and said, oh, I'm sorry about this, and I'll let you know what's going on. And this was like at 3 a.m. because that's when the voting ended at like 2 or something for me, Chicago time. So yeah, she reached out at that point, and I was like, okay, well, we'll just see what happens tomorrow. And then the next day, they're just like, okay, we're just going to keep the results the way they are.
Yeah, because they had to wait for like Smash GG engineers to wake up.
Yeah,
she was like, I have to ask the people who work at Smash GG, which they're not at their job yet, but I'm awake. Which I should also say, I think that it's important to say this right now, is that doing SFL like business is not at all Carolyn's job at Capcom. Like that is not within her job description. This was all something totally separate from her work that she was like, this is a mess. Like, I need to handle this.
Yeah. So it wasn't even Capcom really. It was Smash at that point, Smash GG. So it's like completely out of her jurisdiction, so we say. So yeah,
this is like 2 steps away. Not only is it not her job to do SFL stuff, but it's super not her job to like be able to fix Smash G. The whole thing. But anyway, I digress. Go ahead.
Yeah. So that was really the only point that someone from Capcom really reached out to me. Then after the whole, okay, Guilty can't be there, so we need a replacement and whatnot. That all happened. I was not privy to any of that, so that just happened. And then I started, no one contacted me from Capcom again. Then like people started thinking that Art was going because he posted like a Twitter photograph of him going somewhere on a plane trip, some mysterious plane trip and whatnot. So at that point I was like, oh, so I like started contacting them. So I contacted Mama Dow again and asked about it and stuff. And basically, I mean, it's not really her. It's not her position to do this stuff. So she, of course, doesn't have anything to do with the decision of who to pick and all of that. That's people beyond her, like above her in the Capcom pecking order there. So it's not really her job. So she couldn't really explain why they made the decision to go with someone else or any of that. Why I wasn't picked or wasn't even consulted or anything like that. So. Yeah, I mean, I've talked to her a couple times on Twitter. She gave me an email that I can from someone else on the team, someone higher up that I could possibly try to contact and talk about it. And I did, but I never got a response. So
was this recently? Was this like?
This was like a few weeks ago, like
okay,
back when it was happening, I guess.
Okay, so this was probably like week 0 when it was like very clear when they released that. Promo image and like Art was there and it's like, oh, okay.
Well, I think it was before. I mean, it was definitely before it was officially announced anywhere. So it was after the week where Guilty was DQ'd, but before it was officially announced. It was that whole limbo period. So yeah, they really never. I still don't know. I still don't know why they didn't pick. Like Mama Dow, she sort of suggested maybe, like she didn't know for sure, but she thought maybe it was because of like paperwork or something, that Art was picked because Art has been involved with Capcom before in the past and doing stuff for them. So maybe they had more paperwork already done with him, and that might have made it quicker since it was sort of a sudden thing. You know, the whole guilty thing was kind of sudden. So maybe
you know what that? I guess that could be a possibility because it was like probably very close to the time. Like I'm trying to do the math in my head of when it was that whole blow up happened, because I mean you can't go back and look at the tweets that she made anymore. We'd have to look at what was happening around during that time.
Well, it was definitely the week. So the week that the Capcom made a statement saying that that Guilty was not being allowed to be in SFL.
Right.
From what I understood was that was the same week that they were flying out. So they're flying out on the weekend on Saturday, and all that stuff started blowing up on the Tuesday before that Saturday.
Ah, okay. I think that makes sense. That tracks now. You know what? All right. I could believe that argument of them saying we don't have like time to do the paperwork, but Art has already signed a lot of stuff that we would mostly and we already have things with his name in it. I guess.
I don't know. I mean, she was just speculating on her own because, like I said, that's not really her. She's not involved with that. She doesn't know.
Yeah, I suppose. You got to think about like the legal team there, which I don't know. Yeah, I get. That's an interesting excuse that I might buy that.
It's possible, I guess.
It's a possibility.
But at the same time, like they didn't talk to me at all.
Yeah, that's the other part of like there being no communication at all on the other end is like if it was that situation of them saying, hey, we are flying people out this week, we do not have the time to drop the paperwork because of this debacle, so unfortunately we can't, and then like maybe continue the conversation from there, but then there was none of that. So like,
yeah, like no one above, like none of the executives or the esports, Capcom esports team, like even acknowledge me or anything like that. So right. That's the main issue. Like I don't, maybe this is why they didn't do it, but I have no idea. It doesn't look like they're going to ever tell me why.
Yeah.
Or acknowledge anything I did. So that's the main bummer of them.
Yeah, kind of like a weird situation. So in that event, though, I mean, you have kind of redacted all support from the SFL, and I think that makes some sense for you. At least that is a, I don't know, what are we fucking calling this thing? Because it's like I guess like Capcom Invitational Tournament. Like, because it's still very much
that you can earn, though. It's like
it's very much its own thing, and also it gets really fucking weird when you tie in the fact that like the Japanese players who are in the SFL Japan compete,
completely different,
where it's completely different, but then also not actually, because it's actually the same. Then they compete at the end of the year, and the only people who get payouts are the people who win that tournament. It's
I mean, the previous year of the Japanese SFL had like, see, that's the thing. I don't know which season of the Japanese, because the first season they had like celebrities and people who didn't.
Yeah. I had Doc Fugu on the show to talk about all that before, and it's like he gave a whole rundown of how that's run. So if you guys are interested in hearing of how things used to be run in Japan, like when it was Rage, powered by
Rage, that's right, yeah.
No, it was Rage powered. Now I'm like fucking up because it was something powered by Rage, and then it did like a flip, and then it became SFL powered by Rage. Anyway, not important. But the point is that like it's run completely different over there. So like how you end up in the final situation, which again I will repeat, the only people who are getting paid at the end of this, the only players who are getting paid are the ones who win at the very end. So. I don't know. I haven't seen any. I saw some discourse on the Twitter.com and on our Street Fighter a little bit of people being like, "Well, it's unfair to those players. They don't have a chance to win." And the like U.S. players, and it's like I haven't seen any of the U.S. players saying that. And I know that they're working really fucking hard. So like, don't put words in their mouth, and like two. It's kind of like another argument entirely. Like the system itself being broken is the conversation, not how the players feel about having to compete in that situation. Those are two separate conversations that one addresses like punches up to power, and the other one's very defeatist. That's like I don't think anyone's actually saying.
I can't imagine Punk or Gustavo saying, "Oh no, like how are we supposed to compete with Japan or anything?" I can't see any of the players. I think they want to play. That's what I'd think.
Exactly. So, like they're probably hungry for it, and when there's a lot of money on the line, I'm sure they're putting the fucking work in. I mean, they have all the time right now because it's over. They know who won, so they could be. So
they're training right now, probably. So yeah. Well, actually, the finals is probably. I don't know how that works actually, because the first season of the American League, they did all the prelim matches. Those were recorded far in advance, but then the finals was actually live.
This time, the finals is when they do the crossover.
Okay, so the finals will be at Capcom Cup, basically.
No, it'll be that event in that Red Bull event in November.
Oh, it's at Red Bull.
The one before the Capcom Cup.
Okay. Okay.
All right, so that's that whole situation. So, I mean, if there's anything else you want to say on the SFL situation.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. It's just... I mean, I know some people are like, do you hate Capcom now? Do you hate Street Fighter V now? Because they sort of went behind your back and did this. And I don't know. I'd say humans are more complicated than that. It's good. Like you said, I'm not really supporting SFL itself because I can't really bring myself to watch like other people doing something that like I feel like, hey, I should have been there. I did the work I earned a spot. I'm not asking for a handout. I was the fourth eligible person, so I should be there.
Right.
So it's kind of hard to watch that and be like, I could be there. I want to play. I want to play these tough guys. I want to play all these player guys and gals to share.
You would like the opportunity to compete.
Play. Right. Yeah, I'd like to be there. So it's like it'd be hard to watch. Like it sounds interesting. It sounds like they made a lot of changes to the season and everything. They would made it good to have a good roster and everything. But just I just can't watch it.
Yeah, that's the other nightmare situation is that all of these terrible system things around it, whether whoever is running it and whatever gears are fucking not turning over in this terrible machine has nothing to do with the players at all, which is like it's put them in this. They've set up these great players in this lemon of a car and told them to drive it all the way to the Red Bull event, and it's like
that's actually something I wanted to note on. Like I've actually gotten more support than I thought I would because as you're running down the beginning, I'm sort of a notorious character in the society in the FGC. I'm just a fanboy / shill or whatever. But yeah, a lot of people actually reached out and said, "Yeah, that's not right. This person should get what he earned." And like a lot of players actually reached out, sometimes in private and whatnot, on DMs and stuff, and say, "Hey, we support you." So I definitely appreciate that. It's I don't feel sometimes FGC, that C at the end doesn't always feel like C because there's always
Tell me about it, man.
Drama.
That shit can be.
Yeah, I'm sure you see it all because you're. But sometimes it does feel like a C. I think there's a C there. It's just covered with other stuff, other letters sometimes. But
yeah, this is a whole other conversation of me being like, I feel like most of the time it's actually not there, but like I have to believe that it's there, and my belief in it makes it true for other people. It doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be true for me, but like me putting effort into that C makes
you're a pillar of the community. So you hold you can't have you falling over because.
I guess. I don't know. It's one of those that I feel daily. I'm like, if I just stop, would anybody? I don't know. But enough about this. This is dark. This took a dark turn. I didn't intend to. Speaking of dark turns, though, things might have turned a little bit dark for Momochi over there at TGS this weekend. Maybe you want to you know what? Let's talk about the good things first. Let's make a sandwich out of this. Let's make a compliment sandwich. The tournament was great. What do you think about the tournament in general?
Yeah, well, that's something that's been constant. Like all the tournaments, the game itself, the tournaments, the competition. That's always great. That's always something you can look forward to. The matches were very good. I'm sure a lot of people saw the Rashids and the Karens and stuff, and they're like, oh god. But every time that happens, even when Punk versus Bonchan and that one, I can't remember which tournament that was. But yeah, it's like a bunch of Karens in the top and grand finals. Oh geez. And then you watch it and you just get hooked. You get into it. And like I like reading the chat and seeing the chat. It's like, oh god, Karen, sleeper, resident sleeper. And then by the end of it, they're just like getting hype. It's similar for this. It's just, and then the best part is Karen didn't win, so you can't say anything about it. A Colleen won. So no one called that, and so it was great. And not just a Colleen, it was Momochi, like a very footsies. That's the word everyone likes, as Seijam was bringing up on Twitter. Footsies. That there were lots of those footsies. A whole can of footsies there. Like he'd just walk at you. He wasn't dashing in. It wasn't just 50-50s all day. It was just he would just walk at you and just dare you to do something, and then he'd win.
Yeah, he made really good use out of Stand Fierce and that back hard kick. Some really strong showing from Momochi, which actually complicates things.
If only that guy didn't win. None of this would be happening.
But at the same time, I feel like it's very important for him to win because it's something it has shed light on an issue that has, like, by the way, this has been ongoing. This is the situation that occurred, like, has been the situation for a while, but this is one of the more high profile cases of this happening. But because Momochi is decidedly not a Jesu license holder, which is a Japanese esports union. Is it union? What's that stand for?
I think so. I think that's what it is.
I just took that from my head, and I think that's it. Anyway, regardless, not important. It is a group of people separate from the fighting game. This is just like its own committee of people not involved, mostly involved in like betting and gambling, because gambling laws in Japan are much different. To the point where they can't compete in video games without it being considered a game of chance, which is a fun joke to do when you play a game with 50-50s. So that's a little cheeky fun. However, important because if you're not a license holder, then you are limited. If you are above, I think the age is 18 and above, then you are limited to, and it might be 16. I might have that wrong. Then you are limited to a total winnings of effectively $1,000 US, or like close to. It's like 100,000 yen.
Yeah, who knows where they got that number from? That seems like a random.
But if you're below that age and you're not a JSU license holder, you can get $0 in winnings, which there was a whole other situation of someone who won a tournament that they couldn't earn any of that money. But so they have that big check and it's got that big dollar sign on it for the, what was it, 50 million yen, I believe was going to be the prize amount given to first place. But then Momochi was like, no, I declined this. And so he could only make that effectively 100,000 yen, which was like split between a 60,200 yen payout plus approximately like a monitor that accounted for the other 40,000. So it get a little weird there. I saw a lot of people just saying that, oh, it only made like the $600. Well, it's like, well, but also he got compensated this way, but it works out to be the upper limit on what he was able to earn based on not being a license holder. And important to bring up here is that people are like, well, it sucks that he can't get a license. And it's like, actually,
yeah, you can get it.
He could get it. He qualifies to have a license. He could get one, but he has decidedly been like, nope, not for me. I decline. Which is interesting, to say the least. Another interesting aspect of it is that who gets that extra money? It's that 4,939,800 yen. That it goes back to the Jesu. It goes back to the Japanese Esports Union.
Some people are saying it might just go back to where, like, the sponsors or whoever provided the money in the first place. I don't know. I don't know. That's another thing. Like, from our vantage point here in the West, it's like we don't know what's going on. We're just seeing the clips and bits and pieces of random tweets, and because of course, like, no one, Capcom or the GSU, they're not going to come up and, like, talk to us over here about this, what's going on. So it's like a lot of speculation and maybe some misinformation here and there, and just we don't know. We're sort of going blind here, but the bottom line is Mochi's not getting paid.
Yeah, that's like a great deal of money. Like, that's what that works out to, folks, is that he basically left like $45,000 on the table out of principle that he could have otherwise earned. And people are thinking, okay, well, maybe that's just tournaments in Japan, because this was a tournament in Japan.
No, they have.
No, again, actually. This, if you look at the CPT rules, this applies to all tournaments for it. This is like a weird little blurb. There's like a part A and B to it in the CPT ruling, specifically for people who reside in Japan, where if you are not a license holder, you are limited in the scope of what you can earn. And like, what if he won Capcom Cup? Like,
I'd love to hear Alter David or a lawyer. Like, how can he do that? Like, I don't know.
I mean, that's Japan laws. Like, because it is still technically considered gameplay. It actually gets super weird. So there are ways to run a tournament in Japan with fighting games where it's not considered, or like they can earn that money. Because you can look back at EVO Japan, where people were paid out greater sums than the 100,000 yen. And that was because it didn't fall under, and I'll have links in the show notes so you guys can look into it, but it didn't fall under advertising regulations, and there was no entry fee for entering that tournament. And it was like those two were very important to it becoming like them able to give that amount of money away as prize money. So it wasn't like considered competition, gambling competition or whatever the fuck. It's really complicated. And so I defer to Doc Fugu on this stuff. And I think High Fight's done some translations of like write-ups and like people who understand the legalities of it, where it's like it gets complicated because the way that Japanese committees work is generally complicated and a slow process that people probably don't like.
I can imagine. I know Ultra David posted a link to like one of his lawyer friends, a Japanese lawyer who actually wrote out a pretty good explanation of everything. It's just filled with legalese and stuff, which, by the way, I guess the thing I mentioned, I actually went to law school.
So you're a chemical engineer who also has a law degree.
A law degree.
Just play Street Fighter V for.
There you go, man. And draw cartoons.
Yeah.
But yeah, going over this, it was giving me like some bad memories of just reading legalese and a bunch of complicated stuff that makes your eyes just glaze over. But yeah, it was these weird loopholes and things that apparently if you can't be backed by a company, if your tournament's backed by a company or something like that, then it becomes a problem. But if it's not,
which was the issue
with Japan. That's how Japan got through it, because it's not a company.
Yeah, it wasn't on the CPT, so therefore not run by Capcom. Therefore,
don't have to worry about that.
Don't have to worry about it. In that situation, it just got really weird. Man, they just
need to change the law. They just need to. Playing video game tournaments is not gambling, so that's the point. Just someone needs to get that point across, and then change laws based on that. Because
now there was another loophole here that would make any game any fighting game open to or like not apply to these laws, and it's specifically that the game the game itself would have to be free to play and not have any pay to win functions in it.
Okay.
I'm going to say from a technical standpoint, if Capcom were to release a fully free to play version of Street Fighter V, then it wouldn't fall under these regulations.
Maybe
that would need to be need to be tested against the committee of the Japanese Esports Union, which also not FGC people. Again, I can't state this enough because this is Momochi's big issue with it, is that it's not run from people who understand it. Therefore,
apparently, Fubar Duck had a tweet a while ago where he mentioned some rogue GSU person came out of nowhere and started talking about it and saying that, there actually are old school or long-time FGC players on the GSU involved and whatnot. But then apparently the account went private after that. So who knows what's going on? That was on Fubar. I don't know if it's still there.
That makes me scratch my chin a little bit.
Yeah, there's a lot of chin scratching.
But that would just be shady. Why make it shady? Why not be open and honest about it? Which, again, another one of Momochi's points is that it shouldn't be determined by a committee. It should just be something that the community decides on its own. Which, again, shout outs to Momochi, and also go look at the work that he's done with Shinobism and all that stuff with Choco Blanca. That shit is incredible.
Both of them are,
Oh yeah, incredible. If you want to actually talk about grassroots efforts, that's it.
That's the C right there. Those two are the C.
Indeed. Because here's the other part: is that no, they can't do that. I was thinking, oh no, they could. So here's what Ultra David suggested this, or a joke of this. But then I thought about the legalities of how they would have to do this, because Jesu took back that money. What they should do with it is just run an invitational that only invites 2 players, and it's Momochi and Choco Blanca. Winner take all.
It would just have to be Capcom can't be involved.
Right. Capcom's not involved, and they can't play a game that you have to buy into.
Teppen. There you go.
They play some Teppen.
Magical Teppen tournament in Cuba or something.
You on that Teppen?
I wish I could. My phone's too old. I couldn't play that, and I couldn't play Pocket Fighter when it was out for 5 minutes.
Yeah,
I wanted to try.
I'm on that Teppen. When I take shits at work, I play Teppen. So if you
people seem to like it. Seems like
it's pretty basic, and I would say the rate of which that they're turning over new cards that make other cards useless entirely is probably pretty fast, and I would suspect
characters are pay to win basically. I guess you don't pay for them though, so there's
you can earn in-game currency to afford new packs of cards, but also you don't earn it at a rate that makes any sense. And then I see in a couple of months of people being well, maybe if I spend a couple $, I'll get the card pack that I want, and then. Because there's legitimately cards that came out in the latest edition that are that makes this there was a brand new card a couple months ago that was not included in this new pack stuff, and then all of a sudden people got that card for free when the new character came out, and then it was surprise, that card's legitimately you have no reason to have that in your deck because unless you Anyway, that's Teppen. That's card fighting games. They're bullshit. And also, if you catch me on Teppen, know that I am actively evacuating my bowels.
Intimidation factor. That's a good strat.
The listener can know. As my Rathalos dumps on you, I am dumping as well, but into a toilet.
Psychological warfare. That's
a fact. But anyway, enough Teppen talk. There's other. Oh wait, no. So we need to say something good.
Apparently there's a tournament mode in. Do we?
Yeah. I guess we did.
We mentioned that. We mentioned that.
I was trying to bring another good about TGS, where I'm
about TGS.
What came out of? How did we? What could we? I don't know. The tournament was good, I suppose.
It was good.
We could also say that people are. We're gonna have to.
It was a big tournament.
We're gonna have to make. I think we're gonna have to make another bad sandwich out of this next topic because I want to talk about the Olympics next.
Okay.
Because there's some good here, right? Like, yeah. I suppose.
The Olympics are cool.
So, what was your gut reaction when you saw that Street Fighter V was going to be an Olympic event?
I mean, I feel like that's overall positive. I think I'll say it that way. I think it's a good thing. I think it gives people more reason to keep playing. It shows that the game's gonna be supported for longer. That's for one thing. It also, I mean, it depends on if you're on the whole esports. Do you like esports? Do you like that whole concept? Do you crave the recognition of the world for our hobby here?
Yeah. Do I need the validation of the Olympic Committee, the International Olympic Committee, to validate my hobby?
Games are okay.
My answer is no. But if you need that, that's fine.
I just think it'll be. No. It's not necessary, but I think it's cool. I think it's cool. I think it's good publicity for the genre, for the fighting game genre. Mm-hmm. I mean, they could have picked a bunch of other, Fortnite or something, like a bunch of more insanely more popular competitive games that get more viewership and whatnot, and just play more. But we got a fighting game in there. We got also a Rocket League in there. So
right.
That's cool.
And the argument for including those two games, which I think is smart and I agree with, is that they are two games that are like immediately understandable from from a spectator's perspective, which makes sense because you throw something into the Olympics, you throw it on for like a couple minutes before you flip to the next thing, and it's like you only have a little bit of time to explain the thing to people who are just like watching fucking, I don't know, badminton.
Volleyball, beach volleyball, but they
sure. Have beach volleyball and then the beach costumes only, and then perfect transition.
So right? they resemble events that judo and taekwondo. It's not the street fighting resembles that. Rocket League, soccer, football for international fans.
Well, yeah, footy. No, all right. So here, hey, international fam, look me in the podcast when I tell this to you. Don't you fucking accost me for saying soccer, a word you fucking invented. Let I remind you, association football, you called them soccers. Guess where we got that shit from? We learned it from you, Dad.
Meters, kilograms. Are we gonna go into all that now? I don't know. Is this a place for it?
Want to? All right. So that's
stones.
Because I will defend the U.S. system. Here's why. Listen, I get it. Metric makes perfect sense in science. I love it. It's great to use when I'm doing science. It's great. Things are easily divisible. It's just that you move the decimal place. It's great. But then you look at the U.S. scale and it's like, feet, inches. How does this make any sense? And then let me ask you this: you say, how tall are you to a person in the EU? And they say, I'm 1.35, 28 meters tall. And it's like, what the fuck do you mean?
What's that?
Where I could say I'm about six. I'd say I'm 6 foot tall, and they go, oh yeah, that's one. I just gave you one number, and you know exactly how tall I am.
Feet are pretty good. Feet are pretty perfect. I think that's
it's a human scale. People understand feet. How many feet wide is that? Oh, it's 3 feet wide. I can judge that against something that is on my person. I can match it up. It's a system that makes sense, folks. How much is an inch? It's about as big as this part of your finger, the little flange.
Your thumb and your index finger like this, and then it's like everyone knows what that is. It's an inch.
That's an inch, and I know that because it's a part of my body that I can gauge it. It's a human scale, folks. It's to describe things that are on a human scale. I'm heated.
Easy.
I just ran out of V trigger. We need to talk about something else.
Gotta look, Alex.
Fuck all the EU listeners.
That's the bottom line there. I think.
The bottom line. You invented soccer. Fuck off. Anyway,
we're kidding. We're kidding, everyone. We're kidding.
No, the issue here is that So I got a little confused here, right? Because there's money on. Actually, I just thought of a way to tie this into the last bit, where there's money on the line, right? They got the $250,000 up for grabs for the winner of this tournament.
Oh no!
Japan.
Please don't.
Please don't put my mochi on your team. I guess.
Don't try for the Olympics, please.
To that I'll say, because he's from Japan, he doesn't really have to, because they don't have to. They auto qualify. He would have to try out, but they auto qualify for the finals, which is 8 teams, as opposed to there's like 12 other nations who have yet to be announced. They have their teams, and then there will be something like 8 other teams who will be made from any other region. But they have to try out, and all of this is decided through online tournaments.
Online first, yeah, that's right.
Oh,
maybe that's what that tournament mode is for, or something. I don't know.
Oh boy, you're wrapping everything up in a nice bow. Everything's making sense now.
It all makes
Tournament
sense.
mode. We got the Olympics going on. I see.
We got the netcode improvements. I'm sure those are soon to follow. I'm sure.
But also, it like doesn't work in Russia, so fuck Russia, I guess. Like after the latest patch, did you see that?
Yeah, apparently people in various European countries and Russia are having a difficult time, like even connecting and whatnot. I don't know what they did in that Evo patch. They had a patch to patch the Evo patch. Mm-hmm. I don't know if they like
spun down some servers or like spun up new ones that don't work as well in that. It's hard to say, because how the netcode works is like it's fucking. That's
the ultimate mystery of Street Fighter. No one.
It's an enigma. That's for sure.
This past year, so who knows if that did anything additional to that? I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. Like this is today. We're recording this on a Tuesday, by the way, folks. The Tuesday before this episode drops. So this is the 17th of September to date this podcast. And like we just got that news of that stuff that came with the patch. Like when there could be more stuff. I don't know. I haven't tested out the netcode. I don't know. Maybe it's fixed in Russia. I have to talk to my Russian. Is it? What time is it in Russia?
Sorry about that.
It's probably really fucking late. But anyway, okay, so that's fucking weird. It's like, man, when you run the Olympics like that, and to qualify, you have to place in an online tournament. That's like asking Usain Bolt to qualify for the 100 meters by running a 110 meter hurdle.
I'm sure
it's a similar thing, right, but also completely different. It looks the same. You have to run a similar distance. It's just straight, but also there's shit in the way that makes it not the 100 meter. So like I'm
sure you do better than the average person.
Yes, that's like players who are good will continually be good. It's whether or not I mean, it is a different game online than it is in person. That's all fighting games. So that's not just Street Fighter. So I don't know.
It's rough. Yeah, I don't know an alternative though. Maybe an alternative would be like co-opting, CPT events or something, big CPT events, and saying this is also a Olympic qualifier.
I mean, that would make sense. There's different regions like that's not. We're talking about something that isn't until the summer of 2020. Which also, by the way, the money gets weird here too, because it's like it's being run by Intel, so it's like I'm supposing everything will be run on PCs when they go there. So there's just some interesting bits thrown in there of like.
Well, we saw the Shanghai event 2 weeks ago where people were having difficult. Or no, wait, what event was it where they were having these huge breaks where, as usual, people were plugging different controllers in and it was taking forever. I think it was that was TGS. There was an exhibition match or something of some sort run on PCs. And as usual, as predicted, it took forever.
That's the issue, because you plug in a new thing, and then the computer you plugged it into is like, I don't fucking know. Apparently, though, and I think that we might know a solution to this, or have been. I know I saw him posting maybe a potential solution to this problem. It's something like a driver or something that you can install on your PC that like accounts for like the majority of controllers that people would use for fighting games, or something like that.
Like a driver or something, or some sort of...
Yeah, or some kind of I don't know exactly what it is. I have a faint memory of this from like literally a calendar year ago. So I don't know. If he's listening, maybe he can correct me on that. But that's the best way to be corrected, is just to say the wrong thing on the internet, and then
someone will find it.
Oh God, yeah, that's the best way, because that's the fastest way to learn information, is just presuppose that you actually know something, and then just throw it on the internet, and you'll be corrected.
The internet will be like, I'll show you.
All right. Well, other than that, talked about the Olympics, which is like kind of a good thing, but it's also like, I kind of generally think the Olympics is shitty. Like, it's kind of like a shitty organization. It's like pretty fucking corrupt. And then you just throw in all the weird corrupt Capcom shit that we've seen in the last couple months, and it's like, it's one of those things where I begrudge the systems that are currently in place, but also celebrate the small pockets of systems that are running fine without any of this major stuff going on. Like, you look at Shinobism, and guess what? Like, they're fine. Like, Momochi eats food every day. He's fucking fine. Like, he doesn't need the 45K. Right. He doesn't need the 45K. He could he'll take that $900 some dollars, and the $600 in a monitor, and he'll eat, you know.
They'll probably use the monitor. He'll be like, oh, thanks.
All right, taking it back to his community. It's like little
to, Studio Sky.
Yeah, there's little pockets of success like all over the place, where it's like it's worth celebrating. I don't. It's one of those things where I gotta keep reminding myself, where it's like, anytime I feel down about the systems that continually fail people, even like yourself, where it's like you're one of the biggest spokespeople for this game that has received a lot of hate, but you still have to be positive about it, because it's something that you enjoy. It's your hobby.
I definitely enjoy it. I've been playing a lot of Poison recently since she came out.
Like Poison so far?
At heart, but I've just been playing her pretty much all the time, and she's really fun. Like, I enjoy the game. I enjoy watching it. I enjoy the players. I enjoy, I'd say, most of the efforts that Capcom puts into the game. The people like Mama Dao and all the people behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Like, it's hard to, the baby with the bathwater thing. You can't. There's some bad parts, there's some good parts. You can't throw the whole thing away, though. So it's not just Street Fighter, just like in life. You gotta appreciate the good parts, deal with the bad parts, but you gotta keep going.
Yeah, I cannot sing the praises of Carolyn enough on this show, and begrudge myself for not asking her before she worked at to come on this podcast before she worked at Capcom. Continually.
Train the butter, or up in NorCal,
that's the one that got away. But anyway, all right. I think that's all the major news points, unless there was anything else in the news that you wanted to talk about.
I can't think of anything other than the spooky Halloween costumes. That's about it.
Yeah, that's always new. Honestly, I feel like they should just continually make more costumes.
Yeah,
I feel
as well.
They should just fucking pump them out. Like,
there's more Chun-Li costumes. They should just embrace that and just be like, you know what? You guys are gonna meme this anyway, so here's another Chun-Li costume. Here's a Chun-Li costume, like the exact same one as her default costume, but with like different shoes or something. It's just like,
I actually love that idea. Like, that's like the funniest joke every time there's a Chun-Li costume, because it's like, to me, it's just funny. Like, and I hope that they are in on the joke. Funny, you know.
I mean, there's a whole season where they had like, okay, we're gonna give you a whole flock of Chun-Li costumes, and they just like went overboard with that. I think someone in there has to know like what they're doing.
All right. Well,
just don't stream it.
So I have something listed here, but I'm going to forego it in the case of time, if that's all right. Unless it was like something that you were like, I really want to answer this question.
Oh no, I don't. I do whatever you want to do.
Okay, let me. You know what? Fuck it, I will. This one, we're going to go into a user question. This one's from the email bucket, which, by the way, if you have questions, feel free to write in to the show at rsfradioquestions@gmail.com is where you want to send your questions to, or any like notes or kind of whatever you want to do. I don't care what the fuck you send in that email. I might read it on the show. I might not. I'm still like, there's some questions that have been sent in that I'm still like stewing over, and want to have certain guests on for. So if your question hasn't been read, don't think it hasn't been. I'm definitely keeping it in my craw. But anyway, this one is from Dr. Swagenheimer, good friend of the show, just an overall positive guy. His question is a hypothetical question, and I'll throw this one to you first. So you walk into a store, and you are somehow changed to look like a different person, and you see a younger version of yourself purchasing your all-time favorite fighting game for the first time ever. What advice do you give yourself?
That's a tough question. It's the one of my all-time favorite games back in the day was Street Fighter 3, which it was hard to buy unless you had a Dreamcast. So
let's say you walk up, you're in the arcade playing it, and you see yourself in the arcade playing that new challenger.
I'd be like, wait a few years, and then practice your parries, and practice fighting against Chun-Li. She's not in the game yet, but she will be. So practice parrying her super, and you might become a legend someday. And that's it.
I think that I would give myself controversial advice. And I know people listening to the show will feel betrayed when I say this, but I would tell myself, hey kid, I know Zangief is very good. He's the best.
Yes.
But choose a different character sometimes.
So you're a Geef main long time. You're a long time Geef main. You're
long time Geef main. Long time Geef main. Well, long time Geef main. He's glorious. He's fantastic. Here's why I like him, because when you play against Zangief, he makes you play differently. You cannot play against Zangief the way that you play against the rest of the cast. You have to treat him different, like entirely different.
It's Geef's game, basically. It's like
exactly, and
like a platform.
It frustrates people. I love it, and I love to see people working through that frustration and being able to leverage that against them, and just it immediately becomes a mind game, and I love it. And also, he has a lot of really good footsies-based matchups, and I think that that's fun.
Back in the Street Fighter 2 era, that was actually my main.
Oh
Geef.
yeah,
I main grapplers in pretty much every game, actually. So
right, team big body. I like it.
Yeah.
And I would probably say, hey man, like I know you like this game, but like play some versus games, but also versus game. Like don't pick big body in versus games.
Oh, you did that too.
Of course I do. Big body, man. You got the Hulk. He smash. How would I not want to play character? What smash?
That's true. So you picked Hulk and Geef, Team Hulk and Geef.
Well, I mean, like with Marvel 3, it was Hulk, Hagar, Sentinel.
Marvel 3. Okay.
Gotta get buff somehow. But at the same time, it's like it's not all about. I would have to like grab myself by the shoulder and say, "Hey, kid, it's not all about grabbing. You can hit. Sometimes you can do a hit. It's not all about grab."
So you're probably an expert in fighting Dhalsim by now.
That's the thing that people always assume. Oh, you must hate Geef's bad matchups. Where it's like, I love them. I love those bad matchups.
Really? You like Poison? Poison versus Geef is like...
Yeah, it's bad matchups, but it's like that weird, fun frustration of like knowing exactly how that matchup is bad and exploiting all the things that you need to exploit to win. And then when you overcome a bad matchup, that's so much fun. That's the best.
That feels great. Yeah, I can definitely, when you get on someone, get in on a Dhalsim who's running away all the time, and you just SPD him 3 times in a row.
And yet, I would tell myself,
and still you'd be like, no, it's not all that.
Play the field, man. It's not all about grappling. You gotta play the field, man.
Who would you tell your younger self to play? Besides,
it would just be a general, like, it's just
anyone else.
Play more. Because, like, here's the thing. Anytime that I fuck around with any other character, which is, like, usually just for fun every now and then, it's very rare. But every time I do it, I'm like, yo, you can just, like, stand wherever you want. You can, like, this walk speed? You have, like, You have walk speed. You can determine where you stand in comparison to your opponent at any given time. Like, you can just choose to be closer. What?
That's not the Eve life.
It's crazy. Like, it's buck wild. And people aren't just walking away from you the whole time. How strange.
Backdashing, jumping away, running away. Yeah,
I know, it's a whole thing. That's probably what I would get. All right, so bonus question, bonus round.
All right.
If you were stubborn and wouldn't listen, how would you convince yourself to take your advice?
Well, my advice was to practice parries and wait for Chun-Li. Well, I mean, the thing that would stop me from doing that would be, at that time, would be playing other games, because, I mean, there's Soul Calibur was coming out at that time. That was like 97, 98, 99. That was that period. All these 3D games are coming out. All these shiny new 3D games, PlayStation, all that stuff. It would be tough to tell younger self to, like, keep playing those 2D games, those ugly games that everyone back in the day, my college compadres were like, that game's ugly. Like, I was playing KOF and stuff like that, and I'm like, why are you playing that ugly game? Why don't you play like Soul Calibur, this 3D games, it's like stuff like that. So that would be what I'd have to convince my younger self, that 2D is still beautiful. So maybe I'd show myself like a Disney movie or something, or like some Looney Tunes cartoons or something. Like, look how beautiful and expressive this is. And it's not all about polygons. You gotta stick with it.
Of course, the animator would say that.
Yes, which is a lie, because I love 2D. So that's why. So I wouldn't have to tell myself, actually.
Yeah, there would be no convincing.
I absolutely love 2D. I love Street Fighter 3. That's one of the reasons I love it, because it's so beautiful.
How do you feel about the new Guilty Gear?
That looks very nice. Like, ArcSys, they've got it down. They've got it down. I think I actually like it more than like Grand Blue. Also looks like Grand Blue Fantasy, the other game versus. That looks nice, but like the frame rate. This is an animator vantage point coming at you, but like it's like weird. The frame rate's sort of choppier intentionally, because they're trying to make it look like a 2D game or a 2D cartoon. So they sort of like limit the frame rate, so it's like sort of choppy, but intentionally choppy. But I think they do it a little too much, so that it's actually stuttery looking. Like when I played the beta, so I was playing the beta, I was like, this looks kind of weird. But for Guilty Gear, the new Guilty Gear, it's like very smooth. Like, there are a lot more frames of animation, if that makes sense. It's like it just looks really nice. Yeah. So it should be interesting. I also like that they're actually taking a chance. I love it when fighting game companies do this, where they just start from scratch. Every sequel, they're just like, all right, we're doing something completely different. And not all the characters from the previous game are going to show up, but the new stuff we have, it's going to be interesting and weird and scary, but it's going to be interesting. I like that they did that for Exerd when that came out. I like how Capcom did it with Street Fighter V and pretty much every sequel. And I like how they're doing it with this Guilty Gear game, because a lot of games these days, when they come up with a sequel, it's just like, it's like an update. It's like more like an update with nicer graphics, which is
it's
cool.
Interesting that you say that. That is like a very common trope with other genres of video games in general. But fighting games in general do not go by that trend at all. They're usually like, at least these days. Yeah. This did not used to be the case, but like this generation of like, hey, let's make a new one of these, but also the rules are totally different. Like, yeah, I kind of like that.
It's fun. It's scary. It's like, of course, I know people are gonna hate it, because I already see the comments are like, oh, they're trying to dumb down my Guilty Gear. They're trying to dumb it down. They're trying to make it more accessible, or dumb it down. Like, I see that stuff.
It's the same old argument. I feel like I've been having the same 10 arguments for the last 1.5 decades. It's fucking insufferable. Human beings. God damn you all. I think that to convince myself not to play grapplers, I would tell my young, insufferable self that, I heard that grapplers are pretty popular, and I would walk away.
Yeah, that's similar to me. I don't like playing characters that everyone else plays.
I'd be like, you know what? A lot of people choose him. He's like super popular, and then I would walk away. And then my fucking asshole, insufferable, terrible of human being self would be like,
"Good. It's for your own good, kid."
I am the counterculture. I've read Camus. I am a beat. Anyway,
I get that. I hate playing characters that everyone else plays too. If Alex became like top tier, I don't know what I'd do. That would actually be a conflict. I don't know what I'd do. I actually don't know if he became like current tier, Rashid tier next season. I don't know what I have to drop. I did that for Abigail. Abigail, I was like another big guy. You're a big guy lover, so I love that guy. Abigail, when he came out, I was like, this is my boy. And then season 3.0 happened, and it was like, this, I can't play this. This is wrong. This is wrong.
You got real buff. Yeah, no, that's probably how I would do it. All right, so let's transition into the end of the show because we're getting a little long in the tooth here.
Okay, sorry about that.
No. It's I'm just trying to respect your time and the listener, and everybody's time is valuable. I get it, except for yours, the listener. Fuck your time, because you can listen to this on double speed, so you can cut this shit in half. I gotta talk it in 1 times speed.
I should use meters and kilograms and stuff.
Yes. Then it's like a 2 meter speed, or what's your metric seconds, you motherfucker? Anyway, that's a dumb question to ask. But I have 2 questions for you that are not dumb questions, that I feel like tell a lot about a person in the ways that you can answer it. It's a 2-parter. The first part of that question is, what is your favorite normal attack in any fighting game?
Normal attacks. Not a special, not a super.
Could be. I've had people answer it that way. If you really want to work that into your answer, it can be.
Well, if supers were somehow considered a normal attack, I guess. I don't know. I'd say Yamazaki's drill. I don't know if you know what that is. You know Yamazaki from Fatal Fury originally. Then he's in CVS. He dresses in black and he has the snake hands and he sticks his tongue out and he goes, yeah! He makes that noise a lot. Okay. Well, anyways, that dude.
Explain why.
I'm intrigued. No, he's like this gangster dude, Japanese gangster dude, lives in Hong Kong. So he has a move called the drill, which is a command grab, which should delight you. And he how can I describe this? He picks you up, knocks you in the air, and then you fall, and he sort of flips out for a couple seconds. It's like, yeah, puts his hands out, and then he starts beating the crap out of you, depending on how much you mash the button. So if you mash the button a lot, he starts beating the crap out of you a lot. If you don't mash it at all, he sort of beats the crap out of you. And he ends with this drill, his hand turns into a giant drill, and he just knocks you away. That's my favorite video game move of all time.
Why is that? Just the way that it looks, or the
way it looks, the style of it, and it was back in the time. So I got a Sega Saturn for a long time ago. Just randomly got a Sega Saturn a long time ago, and that was the first game that I got, KOF 97. So I was like, anytime it's first of anything is sort of sticks with you. So, and
I have a huge KOF hole in my fighting game.
It's a great game. It's a great series. It's a great game.
I love everything I've ever seen about that series. I'm like, man, I should get into that. And then I have never had the time to do it.
There are a lot of them though. So it's anytime you try to learn a new fighting game, it's hard work. I don't think people appreciate that. Anytime a new game comes out, it's
tough, man, to understand it. Shout outs to all the commentators who learn all of the new fighting games and learn the specifics about it. But KOF, man, I would say that also, just as a spectator, because I've watched some KOF, I feel comfortable in saying that KOF stages are the best, bar none, the best of any fighting game ever of all time. But
yeah, it's very, I should say. So I'm looking forward to KOF 15. I hope the only thing I want from that game, I don't care what they do. I trust them. I just want it to look nice.
Yeah, that was unfortunate about the last game. But no, back to the line of question.
Yeah, we're getting off that.
It sounded like you liked the part of it.
Yeah, I like that. I like that.
It seemed like a pretty important part as to why it was enjoyable.
I'll link you to it later on Twitter or something.
Yeah, I'll catch it. But part 2 though is, what is your favorite combo in any fighting game?
My favorite combo. Okay, I'm an Alex main. My favorite combo used to be from Street Fighter 3 is Fierce Chop into Suplex. It's a 2-hit combo. Mm-hmm. So he does a chop, and it's this big beefy those old school CPS2 Street Fighter sound effects.
Yeah,
then he
there's
does a
some
suplex.
there are like some chunky like bass heavy sounds.
Yeah,
in that game.
it felt like you could feel it. I like that. I like
Right.
that. Then you do that, and then you do his power bomb, which when their back is turned, it turns into a suplex, just like Street Fighter 5 actually. But yeah, so you do the power bomb after you do the chop, and that's it. 2-hit combo. It does really good damage for 2 hits, and it's just like that's it. You're done. So it's like it was very satisfying. Then Street Fighter 5 came along, and you can actually combo that from a counter hit stand fierce. Mm-hmm. So you do the stand fierce into the chop into the suplex. So it's like, well, it has one more hit, so obviously it's better. So that's my favorite combo. 3-hit combo.
One more hit, so is better.
Makes sense.
Fair enough.
How about you?
No, I've answered this question before a couple of times. So I'll just change my answer this time. Favorite combo, let's go with I'm going to combo Vega in Street Fighter 2 wall dives. One after the other, coming at you. What side is it? Is it the throw, the Izuna drop? What's happening?
That's an uncombo combo.
I know. I'm doing a twist on my own question.
Basically a combo.
Effective, yeah. Just put you in the mix. That's a series of events combo, because I'm all about that mix, man.
Real life foot. Back in the day when footsies were real, that's events.
Oh fuck yeah! That's always a fun thing to cut. Like, I always love saying that when people are like, "This game doesn't have footsies. This isn't real Street Fighter," and then I would just like link Tokido doing like just knocking someone down with Vega, and then it just being over because they don't get to play anymore.
Oh, you don't have a reversal? Too bad. No.
It's so great, and then it's like, well, what the fuck is it, fan? Like, is it this or is it like this? Because like, every game has bullshit, like, and it's just how much bullshit you are willing to subject to someone. Which the answer to that should be 100% of the bullshit. You should be taking advantage of all of it. Like, this is fighting games. This is how much can you subject your opponent to? That's the game.
That was real footsies, Karate Champ. I don't think there's anything cheap in that game.
Hard reads, man.
Hard reads. Footsie was cheap though. But yeah.
All right. Well, it has been a pleasure talking to you, Emezie.
It's fun.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of RSF Radio. Is there anything else that you want to cover before we turn off the lights here?
I just want to give a shout out to you and our Street Fighter crew. Quasimo. That's the thing. Like, when you live on the internet, like, fighting community lives on the internet basically. So you see a bunch of tags, you see people's names and stuff, and you never actually try to say them out loud.
It is technically Quasimodo X.
Quasimodo X.
However, I only have ever said it out loud, Quasimodox, and when I start saying Quasimodo X, my brain starts to rewire itself, and a shutdown happens. Like, I have to flip the switch before there's a core meltdown.
I see. Yeah, I've never actually said it, but you know who I'm talking about. And then
yeah, I know him. You know
of him. And then Metal, the person who always fixes the stream tracker that always goes down. The mellow digit. Yeah. Basically, you guys. Thanks for like I said, you're a pillar.
Much appreciated, man. Where can people find you on the internet if they want to search for you?
I'm on Twitter. Twitter.com/EMEZIE, which is my name. I'm on YouTube, youtube.com/also EMEZIE. I think that works. Instagram, all those places. Right. Instagram is EMEZIE, OKORAFOR. So good luck. Good luck.
That'll be in the show notes if you're looking for it. So wherever it's down or to the side or however the fuck you get it, that'll all be there. All right, folks. So that's a show. That'll do it for you. You can find me at Super Joe Monday or at Reddit SF on Twitter.com, or you can just head on over to our Street Fighter and post some bullshit, and I'll find you and I will fucking delete your ass. But no, that's not true. It's more good than bad over there, I would say, for the most part. And I also just recommend, hey, go to r/Street Fighter, like the actual website, and like vote on the shit you want to see. It's like, It's like amazing.
The community part. That's you guys.
Yeah, you just you upvote the stuff you like, and then that stuff gets elevated and put in front of more people, and it's ultimately better for everybody. So like go do your part as a citizen of this community. And of course, go to wherever you listen to this podcast and rate and review. I suppose, I don't know, I'm supposed to say that. It makes the sponsors happy, which is Brick. He gets happy when I say that. He's scowling at me right now. All right, folks, that's your show. Thank you again for joining us, and thanks again to Panda Densetsu for the new track, which starts and closes the show. It is pretty dope as fuck, so give him a shout out when you see him. Until next time, folks, till next Thursday. Don't forget about by the way, online tournaments Mondays and Fridays. Can't end the podcast without saying that, but that's a show, folks. Until next time, please take care.